Welcome back to the Nightlife podcast, season 3, episode 10, I believe. Yes. Guys, so welcome from Calle Ocho. Today I am going to be sitting down with a longtime friend, actually one of my first partners in the industry, and someone I've been wanting to sit with for a while, but he just keeps traveling around the world and has no time for me anymore. So without further ado, welcome my good friend,
Thank you, Julio.
Miguel Angel Valenzuela.
Pleasure being here, man. Thank you
Dude,
for having me. I
it's
wanted
been-
to be here too.
I know you did. I know you did. So to tell you guys a little bit about who Miguel is. Miguel was one of my first partners, actually. We met in a very funny way, which maybe we'll tell you a story. Maybe we won't. I don't know. But but I actually was starting. It was LMG or La Misma Gente at the time had started doing our first parties, and we found a flyer somewhere that there was an event at a venue that we were doing like a monthly event or every so time, I don't remember exactly, and there was a flyer that said there was an event there, and there was this other company, and they also had our company's name in it. I was like, we're not doing that event. Like, what's going on? What is this? Who is this person?
You can blame Antonio Pina for that.
I know
Stealing
exactly.
Your name thing.
Antonio. A la silla.
Antonio.
So Antonio, who was also one of our first partners, actually the first guy that introduced me to the nightclubs, except different from doing the events, but more nightclub thing.
Very talented guy, by the way.
Yes, definitely. So Antonio joined Miguel and doing this event. We had basically separated right before that, and he said that they could use that name, which was
Well, that
mine
was
and my
his
other
name,
partners.
actually.
He said that it was
That
his
it was
name.
his name, and we just put it on the flyer. I didn't think much about it, but
Right.
that's what it was. But let me say something real quick before you
Yeah,
move on from
it's
the...
good
from
to hear both sides of the story.
No,
after a
it's
few
good.
years.
It's actually funny because I remember that phone call I received from the person who was your partner. And shout out to Victor Malo, man.
Yes.
You know, a great friend.
Victor's about to open a new venue
In
of his own
Orlando. He's
yes.
killing it in Orlando, man. Amazing job, buddy. I remember that phone call I received. It was like a mob phone call. This guy called me and he was like, "Ring, this is Victor Malo from La Misma Gente Production. You cannot do an event in that venue because we have an exclusive contract with that venue. So if you want to do a party, you better bring us as a partner or you don't have a party." So
Yeah.
it was like, man.
Oh, my
So
God.
we partner up in like, I had no choice. I was like,
Right,
okay.
right. It was like we came kind of with a gun. I remember, as a matter of fact, I brought in a bag. I mean, we're talking about when we were in our teens, and I remember I brought a bag that looked like a lawyer's bag, like if I had serious papers in it or whatever, to look like professional. I'm bringing all these papers to the meeting.
First meeting, yeah,
to
we
the
had.
meeting we had with you. I think it was your house, if I'm not mistaken, but we met at your territory. I remember that. But we came, and I brought in that bag to look all serious. I'm like, be ready for us to sue or whatever.
Right.
Because this is a serious matter. You're using our name. This is all our legal papers and all
Yeah.
this stuff. They don't belong to this guy, whatever. All this stuff. But we made a deal, and we decided to do this together, and that we were,
And it was the best thing to happen.
Yes.
It was the best thing to happen because even if it was under those funny circumstances,
Yes.
I was starting. It was my first real party.
Right.
It was my first ever party where I was going to make money, right? So I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah, that's what we thought.
And I was only listening to Antonio, right?
Right.
Because Antonio's the one with the experience, right? But partnering with you guys was a very smart thing because I was able to learn a lot because you guys were already doing this game before I started. And the party was just incredible. We had like a freaking line around the block in a ranching candle.
Yes.
Like everybody was like, "What are you doing? Making an event in that area?" And I was surprised that so many people came.
I've been wanting to do those kinds of events again, like you have no idea, because just want to go back to roots, and I believe wherever anybody is around the world right now,
Right.
even though I'm here to teach you about the nightlife industry more than anything, when it comes to entertainment, there are so many new opportunities and so many ideas. New in a way, but it's really more like going back to how things were before, you
Right.
know, and not just sticking to what everybody knows and getting outside of your comfort zone a little bit. But anyway, why don't you tell us, a little bit more about who you are or your trajectory in the nightlife industry?
Well, Julio, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not very good talking about what I've done and about myself. I think you can actually say a little bit more. But yeah, I was able to do a lot in nightlife in Miami. When we started, Miami was pretty much a ghost town for the type of events that we were doing.
Correct.
We had two very important people that were actually opening the door for us to be able to explode it, right? Which was Diego San Roman,
yes,
with Senior Frogs on Thursdays, and then we had Aurelio Rodriguez on Fridays.
Yes.
And that became for us like the place where we were able to network and create the empire that we created, because speaking truly, was an empire.
Yes.
What we did was serious. We took this extremely, extremely personal, and we wanted to be the best, and we wanted to make an impact in Miami, and I believe we did.
Right.
We did that, and it's part of the history.
Correct.
But, I was able to work with the Stefans. I was able to, obviously, the first time I partnered with you guys, we did an amazing grand opening event that it was a Halloween party, I remember, in South Fork.
Correct.
And you're about to do Halloween grand opening here, so
yes, by the way,
this is probably going to be amazing.
At Calle Ocho from El Santo Diablo. This is the new location from Roman Jones, same creator of Kiki on the River and many other venues. But basically, we're going to start our Thursday night at this location starting Halloween, which should most likely be tomorrow.
And don't miss it, man. This place looks crazy. I wish I was here. I'm going to travel, but this place looks amazing. So you shouldn't miss this event. It's going to be interesting.
So Halloween has been a big thing for us for a long time, because from that first one, which I think we were talking about, a good friend of ours, Jairo Martinez.
Right, he was involved
joined us in that event. And one of the things that Jairo Martinez brought to the table, if you guys don't know, Jairo Martinez is somebody in the industry who has been more on the side of the entertainment, the artist, right, and managing artists. He's discovered artists as small as this girl called Shakira, and so currently Jairo's in Colombia and he's on television. He went back to Colombia for actually doing a little more of politics,
right?
But then he went back to his thing, and he's on TV now. Has a couple of shows actually doing well, and but still in the industry. But he did a lot of events back then, and he did a few with us. Right. That event was amazing because he brought all the artists that he knew, and it kind of also helped us in guide in that direction of the right crowd too.
I think that event for your career and my career and Jairo, being nice to help us, because he didn't even make money, I believe, in that party, right?
Think so, yeah.
I think Jairo did it because he wanted to help us.
By the way, I don't think we were doing it for the money.
No, we never did it for the money. The money came natural.
Exactly.
And that was the key.
I think that's one of the things that a lot of people forget about. And actually, right, a lot of people talk about, don't think about the money, don't focus on the money.
Right.
But after they've already made the money.
Right.
Right. And the ones that are trying to make the money are only thinking about the money. So it's one of those things that you learn too late in life. Sometimes one of those that you're like, I wish I would have known this earlier. And a lot of people go, yeah, I told you, but you just didn't listen.
Right.
So listen, it's not about the money.
Yeah, you're going to make money, but don't make it about the money, because if you do, then you're not going to do it the right way, and then you're not going to make the money. So.
Right. So that venue where we started that party lasted 13 years, I believe. But on that path, we parted ways.
Right.
We've always been friends. But we've also been competition, and we've been tough competition.
Absolutely.
Never unfair, but
nope.
Tough competition. It's been.
And we made each other better. We made your company was better. I believe because of what I was doing with my partners, and I was a much better promoter because of you guys. Right. Because competing against you guys was extremely difficult, and I believe it was the same way the other way around. But thankfully, there was enough for both of us.
We didn't say it out loud back then.
Right.
We were like, like the other day, somebody told me something about my competition. And on your comments on
Yeah,
Facebook.
yeah.
And then Leandro, personaje, mentioned, oh, your competition is gonna, get mad or whatever.
What
and I just said, what competition? So we joke around, and as a matter of fact, today we still have some relationships with whoever considers themselves our competition and the ones that we actually consider as competition. And the relationships have changed. There has been an evolution from what it was. Back then, we were like, we all knew that it was kind of like a little mafia thing, that we knew who was the ones that actually mattered.
Right.
Anything else, we were just like, wait for it to, it's gonna last 3 weeks, and it did. It
Right.
was, they would open, close, because we kind of would see
Right.
the direction they were going, and we knew what worked and what didn't.
Right.
And we probably still see that today. But today, the new generation, for some reason, has opened up, even though they don't like to be told what to do, and they believe they know it all.
Right.
Since I took on this new...
So did we, right?
Yes. No, that is
Yeah,
true.
we can't blame them, but it's better if you listen. Trust me.
So the thing is this, when I started doing this and the mentoring, I have realized that a lot of the people, even here locally, have opened up to being helped.
Right.
And I respect that, because it's not easy to come to your maybe competition and say, you know what, I'm willing to take the advice from you, that I know that you've done it not just right, which is one of the things I think we need to get into.
Right.
We did a lot of things right, but the most important thing that I know for a fact you guys can take away from us sitting down today is to go into the things that we did wrong. And you mentioned this probably like 2-3 weeks ago when we first spoke about sitting down, and I think, you know what, you nailed it, because I've been waiting to talk about mistakes for a while, and it's a good time as any to get started on that. But let's start with you.
Perfect.
It's not all good when you're in this industry. There are days that you wake up and you go, oh, man, how am I gonna pay those bills, or how am I gonna make sure that I can pay the band that I hired, or if you have a big event, or oh my God, the sales are not even, nobody's bought any tickets. What's going on pre-sales? Even though we were never huge in pre-sales, as nowadays everybody's on Eventbrite and selling tickets ahead of time. So what do you think were one of the biggest struggles along the way?
Well, I think talking about your screw-ups is extremely important to be able to teach people something. Because if you only talk about the good stuff, then you're not being real, right? So, this is the type of business where you can do a lot of things right, which, in my own personal, let's call it career, if we want to, of almost 20 years.
It's a career.
I did a lot of the right things, right? But I also made a lot of mistakes, okay? And I'm gonna talk about those mistakes. Now, if you don't mind, Julio, it'll be cool if I can talk a little bit about the things people can do right first and that I did right.
Of course.
Then I get into the wrong things, so you don't make the same mistakes I made. I think we're gonna try to teach you today some stuff. So it's gonna be fun, if you're watching this right now. And be a little patient, because you're gonna get some substance from this, and I believe this is gonna be great for you. So hang in there with us, because we're gonna talk about a lot of good stuff. So,
this is your first time sitting on a podcast?
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like it, man.
And look, you want me to be honest? I'm freaking nervous, but hey, man, it is what it is. I'm not used to having this thing in front of my mouth, man. So
that's a good thing, that you're not used to having a thing in front of your mouth. That's
well, I'm glad. But whatever.
So, all right. So let's talk about the good things. What do you think is something that is a must? Something that you have to have or have to do in order to make it, to survive in. You're talking about 20 years, 2 decades. It's not that easy to be in this industry that long.
Especially in Miami, right?
Oh, people talk about, Miami, because you have it so easy. No,
it's the most competitive market in the world.
Making it here, it's kind of like the New York song for Miami. You make it here, you make it anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, which is one of the things that opened the doors to helping people around the world.
Right.
Because it is easier, actually. I have most people I talk to from the smallest towns that you could think about, to cities, huge cities I didn't even know existed, you know, and that already have great nightlife, but it's just different,
Right.
you know, and so I kind of work with everybody kind of custom, you know,
Right.
depending on where they're coming from and where they want to go, to see what the right path is for them, because it's not,
Right.
you know, my path of being a sub promoter, main promoter, marketing partner, owner, investor at some time, and then back to marketing partner, and now mentor. You know, it was my path, but that doesn't mean that it has to be everybody's path.
Right.
It was what worked for me. So, with you, what do you think? For example, that's a good question for you. What do you think is the path that people should be taking if they want to get into the nightlife industry and stay in the nightlife industry for 2 decades? What should they be doing?
Well, like you mentioned, every city is different. Every demographic location is going to have a different approach, because obviously the behavior of the crowd is going to be completely different, right? The competition is going to be different. Miami, like I mentioned, is one of the most, well, I'm going to say it, it's the most competitive nightlife market in the world. Yeah, you can say Ibiza. Let's say Ibiza a close second, but Miami's Miami. And if you want to make it in Miami, you got to be on top of your game. And obviously there's two different types of Miami. The Miami that when we started, the first 7-8 years of our careers, maybe 10 years, you know, we were the name. We were everything, because the promoter was only main promoter, DJs, and you had to do it all. Your name was the one that was going to pack the party, right? Then obviously someone came, someone from France, and had this creativity and started making, you know, everyone a promoter. And then that's when the game changed for everyone. We had to adapt to those changes.
Right.
We had to work with him to
Right.
learn those changes, and then we started applying it in your company, my company, and that's how we were able to survive and continue to be relevant in Miami. You and Kia, you know, LMG have been amazing at staying in the game. I got tired of it. I retired 4 or 5 years ago, so my hat's off to you that you guys are still, you know, on top of your game. It's not easy, guys.
We were able to do your retirement party,
right?
so that's how it was a good closing cycle.
Correct.
You know, starting together and
I did the retirement party, and then I came back for another,
yes,
you know,
I
2
remember.
years.
There was a comeback.
Right, it was a little comeback because it's not easy to get out.
Let me ask you a question about getting out. Okay, I know you're out, and I know you've been traveling. You've been, you know, in Mexico a lot, and here, and you know, you just came back from a trip. But are you maybe just one phone call away from coming back?
You're always one phone call away from
Okay.
coming back. This hard, man. You know, I don't
It's
want
hard
to.
when you really love it.
It's tough because it is the adrenaline and the rush that you feel when you're in this business, and when you know, create an experience and you live it, and you see the results of how hard it is to really do it, and at 1:30 in the morning you're on top of that DJ booth and you see people going nuts. Yeah. That feeling, I haven't felt it, you know, in a long time. So I miss it. Yeah.
How important is the DJ when somebody chooses their DJ for their party?
Right. Well, what I was going to say is that there is two paths. And I recommend for you in today's world, you need to find someone like Julio, you know, who's going to teach you how to really make this a reality for your life. You can try it on your own. And you probably will do well if you have passion, because that's the most important thing. You got to be so freaking passionate when you start promoting parties. If you're just doing it because you want to get free drinks and you want to party for free, then, you know, you're going to make that kind of money and you're not going to go anywhere, right? And if that's good for you and that works for you because you have a good job, then, you know, more power to you. But if you want to be someone relevant, it starts with passion, man. You know, I used to go to Senior Frogs back in the days on Thursdays, and I used to go to the bathroom, and I'm peeing next to a guy, and I'm pulling out a freaking flyer and invitation, say, hey, man, don't miss my party. You got to do it next Saturday.
Yes.
I was
Make
hungry.
sure you pick the right hand.
Yeah, that's very important. That's very important. But what I'm trying to say, you have to be extremely passionate about what you're doing. You have to believe it. You have to sell it. And you have to pay attention to the details. But let's talk. A good way to start is to work with someone like Julio, who has an established company, who can provide a platform for you guys to be able to start building a name for yourself and to be able to learn. You know, if you're not in Miami, I know Julio can teach you through not only the podcast and the book, which has a lot of valuable information, but he can, consult for you. That's a good way to start. But if you want to get into this business, you got to understand it's not only fun. You're going to have to work. You're going to have to take it serious. And if you want to build a career and make a name of yourself, it starts with passion. So
right.
It's very hard for me to say how to start because, like you mentioned, every market is different.
Correct.
But a good way to start is to seek the counseling of a guy like you. I think that would be very smart. Why? Yeah. And I'm going to tell you why. Things that we know because of the market and everything we've been through in Miami, it's impossible for someone outside of Miami to know it because there is so much competition in Miami, because there are so many options and you are in the top nightlife market in the world. You're going to have to be extremely creative and you're going to have to reinvent yourself over and over and over. And you're going to have to wear a lot of hats. You're going to have to learn about marketing. You're going to have to learn about music. You're going to have to learn about promotion. You're going to have to learn about operations, which I know you learned everything, right? And by doing that, you continue to grow and become bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's harder for people to be able to compete against a person, for example, in your case, you're still in the business against you because you know through A through C everything that needs to be known about nightlife, right?
Right.
So, if people from, let's say, I don't know, Boston or someone from Mexico or someone in Europe is watching this podcast and they can learn the things that you know from the Miami market and apply it in those cities, they're going to make a killing.
Sky's the limit, yeah.
And it's going to be very hard for anyone to compete against them because they're going to learn the tricks. Yeah. Of how you are successful in a city like Miami. You apply it in a city where the competition is less and right. You can pretty much rule the night if you do it right. So, the first thing I would recommend is contact a guy like Julio and you can start from there.
There you go. So thank you for that, the plug. But but I agree. I mean, one of the reasons I started, the first thing was I wrote the book thinking I want to leave a legacy.
Right.
Right? Because I'm like, I'm getting close to probable retirement, maybe,
mm-hmm.
and maybe focus on other things in the nightlife industry, but more just ownership and not mm-hmm. really with the marketing and the promotion, which is the biggest headache and the biggest, and I still see it as the most important part. Yes, you got to choose the right location. When it comes to owning a venue, you got to choose the right location. Yes, you have to have the right management and best operation and great service. And you also have to have a good product.
Right.
But if the marketing is not right, nothing's going to happen with whatever location.
Right.
Whatever. It's not build it and they will come. That is not the
right.
case with this. Maybe in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Maybe, something like that. Or even New York has those opportunities. But probably the size of the investment, the amount of investment you have to have,
right.
it's bigger also anyway. So, yes, you have to, you need all those things, but the marketing is the most important. So I started that in that way. And then the book grew in the sense that so many people contacted me thanking the value they took from the book.
Right.
And what they took the most was the inspiration as to, okay, so if you could do this, coming to this country as an immigrant,
right.
and starting a company with $50 your dad gave you and going from there and building it into all the employees they had at some point, all the different clubs that you guys have owned and all those things, then why can't I, right? So going into that route of finding a good mentor, that's where I decided, okay, I gotta have a course. I made the course, and now what I'm realizing is I'm helping more people one-on-one.
Right.
Because everybody's different. So yeah. Now, forgetting about everybody being different and everybody,
mm-hmm.
and coming this way and getting the help, which by the way, don't forget to ask for it, because I don't know where you are. What if you were in my shoes and you were today
mm-hmm.
mentoring and helping the new generation? Where would you start? Where do you see yourself guiding them to do when it comes to, for example, what I believe is the first part of every process, which is the motivation part. What
right.
kind of mindset do people need to have Are there any type of people that should not do this, for example, or not? Why are we laughing?
It's funny because I had people that I never thought that were good promoters because they had a horrible personality, but for some reason they were like one of the top promoters that I had, right? And it's difficult, but I believe someone who is doing it for the right reasons is going to succeed. If you do it because you want to provide experiences for people and it gives you joy, to provide those experiences, and it's important for you to promote something that is going to make people have a good time. That's the main purpose you have. Then you're going to succeed. If you do it because you want to make money and you want to be famous, you want to be popular, you want to, hang out with all the, cool people, the celebrities, that's part of it. You're going to get to that. But that comes by you being true of the reasons why you want to do this. So I'm not going to say in particular you got to be a certain type of person, but you got to be a person that understands that you have to have the right mindset and do things for the right reasons. If not, don't waste your time. That's my advice.
Cool. When it comes to partying, how much partying is too much partying?
Oh my God. I think I'm a perfect example of what partying really means. When I said we're going to talk about the screw-ups, one of the things that I did wrong, I had a lot of success. I was able to work with the Stefans. My parties were known for having all the celebrities. I think I can take credit for being the first one.
I believe one of the things that gave you the edge was quality of people.
I focus on that.
People and music. The correct music.
Right.
I don't know how you would have handled the reggaeton era. I don't know what you would be playing because you always cared about good music.
Right.
And it wasn't always what's on the radio.
Right.
Getting to that music first.
Right.
And getting it out there first. Actually, radio came to us to see what we were playing so that they would play it.
Yeah.
It was the other way around. So, we always had kind of that ear for the artists, and you always applied it to your parties.
Absolutely.
Having the right DJs was a big thing.
For me, music was number one. DJs didn't really like me at the beginning. The DJs that worked with me, they hated my guts because I was that guy that pushed them so hard that I don't know if I made their job fun, but I was the guy who was knocking at their door and saying, we're going to go through music. We're going to build a library of music. We're going to talk about what you did wrong last weekend, how you can make it better. And every single week, we were searching for new music, new sounds. Obviously, at that time, it was very popular to use the term international. A lot of people were using the term international, which it was a big part. I wanted to switch it around, and I remember Brian Peña, who was my partner, told him, look, man, I don't want to use international. Let's call it Latin and world rhythms. Why Latin and world rhythms? Because we wanted to have a perfect blend of what was hot in Latin music because we represented the Latin community, but we wanted to also implement at that time, everything from electronic, from hip hop, from 80s rock, retro music, classics in different genres, because people think Latin music, no, Latin music has a lot of different avenues, right? You have Latin rock, you have merengue, you have vallenato, which became really, really big in Colombia. You have Latin pop. So you had to know how to.
Now we have reggaeton
pa' allá.
Trap,
and pay attention to dembow. It's coming.
No,
it's coming.
It's not coming. It's inside all my events.
It's happening already. I already saw the Yiddish Chimbala.
Oh yeah.
From Dominican Republic.
Yes, we bring a lot of artists from DR right now.
Awesome.
And we have actually one of our main guys has a lot of Dominican.
Right. Support it, because dembow, and I'm glad you're doing it already. Dembow is going to take over pretty soon. And I think it's important for you guys to be involved already, because that way when it hits big, you guys are already, ahead of your game. But anyways, you had to, it was a tough combination, because you had a crowd that you had to please playing all this different type of music. So for us, it was like, look, if we have an American, we were the ones doing the Latin and world rhythms, the international parties in South Beach, right? They were the ones doing it on this side of the bridge. So my clientele was a little bit different because I had more of a blend of different where people are from, right? So we had to cater to a lot of different tastes. So music for me was the most important thing, and the quality of the crowd, like you mentioned. And I had a lot of people who helped me, attract all the celebrities, meet the celebrities, become friends with them,
Right.
and be able to do all the birthday parties and stuff like that. So that helped me create a brand, and that was beautiful.
So I think what I want to do is I want to end this with the positive notes and invite you to stay for another podcast just for the negative things.
Okay.
But I want to end it on a note, and it has to do with PR. We spoke about Jairo Martinez at the beginning, and
Right.
and how great he is at PR and with people and all the things, and how good public relations opens doors. For example, someone like Dave Grunman is where he is today due
Right.
to his PR, and for you it was great. It is something that you guys should be always thinking about. What is the secret sauce when it comes to treating those people? Because not everybody has it.
Right.
For example, through my career, one of the things I wish I would have done more is build more relationships with all those artists that I met throughout the years.
Right.
And that it was kind of like, yes, this is the artist, he's coming, boom, he's performing, we would shake hands, take a picture for the website or for whatever it was at the time. Next. It was for me, it was more of a business, but I realized that I was passing on building those relationships, which is one thing that I always saw that you were very good at.
You say we're gonna do another episode to talk about the negatives, which I think is great because we have a lot to talk about when it comes to the things we could do different. There's a lot of things you were doing right, and Kia was doing right, that I was doing wrong, that I was not doing like you guys. So I think there was a lot of things that I wish also I could have done better, that I saw you guys do it the right way, and it was just different path,
But what is the secret when it comes to the way that you treated artists? Because I want people to take a little bit on that, on how they should build the right, I think you have more of a good sauce when it comes to that compared to us. We did a lot of artists a lot of times, but it was always business transactions,
Right.
kind of, more than actual, like there's artists that still come to you today and sit down with you when they're composing songs and that kind of thing. So what do you think you did different?
The first thing you got to do is you just got to be yourself, man, and you got to be extremely likable. I think I use my charisma to my advantage.
Right.
And I never asked them for pictures or autographs.
Never kissing ass, right?
Never.
It's not about kissing
Never.
ass.
I don't have pictures.
Right.
I had people like Enrique Iglesias. I had people like Thalia. I had people Ricky Martin, Carlos Vives, Jennifer Lopez, Sofia Vergara. I had so many of those big celebrities next to me in my parties, and I never took a picture with them. Why? Because I didn't want to be a fanboy.
I made the cover of Telenovela with Sofia, so.
Oh, that's awesome.
No, it actually broke our relationship.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I didn't know they were taking the pictures, but
And it was not your fault. But yeah, man, just be real. Don't be a fanboy. Be their friends, and don't try to show too much hunger from getting from them. Celebrities used to come to me because they were getting a benefit from me. I was the one who was treating them, extremely well. I paid a lot of attention to make sure they were at the right location, at the party, at the right table. People were not bothering them. I was making sure that I didn't have any cameras around them. I was making sure that they were actually enjoying themselves. And then I was able to connect with them in a personal level, and then, grow those relationships where they trusted me and they always wanted to be around me. I received phone calls from, I remember one time I received a phone call from Angelica Vale, which is a huge personality in Mexico. And thanks to people like Jairo, Abraham Mendez, who introduced me to a lot of those people. Abraham, man, you were amazing in my career. You promoted me so much with the Mexican artists. And I just picked up the phone. Hola, Mike, Angelica Vale. I was like, oh my God, I never spoke to this girl before. She's calling me Mike. And she told me, Abraham gave me your number. I'm here in Miami. I want to hang out. And that's a party I was actually doing. I think you guys were involved. Level 25, that super popping, cool happy hour in Coconut Grove, that it was on the 25th floor. She showed up to that event. It was an incredible event. She had a great time. So, the secret sauce to build relationships with the celebrities, first, you got to have the right product. Second, you got to surround yourself with the right people, the managers, the ones who are not famous, the ones who are behind the scenes.
And the same applies for any niche and any type of music. This is not Latin music, only. This is it's hip hop, it's R&B, it's house music. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and when you're doing your job, you got to treat everyone great, man, because you never know who's who. There was a lot of people that went to my parties. I got introduced to them. I gave him a smile, shake hand, be humble, be cool, and then that guy, oh, I'm the manager of this person. Oh, really? Oh, cool. Let me get your number. Then that person is going to get you and give you access to those celebrities you want to be friends with.
Miguel, so thank you so much, man, for your time and what you've been giving us. Like I said, you guys are not going to want to miss it, because we are going to do another one just focused on the negatives and the wrong things that we both did. So hope to see you on that one again. And I don't know if you have anything that you want people to follow on Instagram or anything like that.
Yeah, if you want, you can follow me on Instagram at Miami Miguel. And that's it, at Miami Miguel. And if you have any questions, man, I'm very open. And I'm always willing to help. So you can contact me at Miami Miguel.
There you go. So you know where to find me, at the Nightlife Entrepreneur on Instagram. Nightlife Podcast is the website where you find all the episodes. YouTube, iTunes, Podomatic, Spotify, you name it, and the book on Amazon. See you guys next week.